Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Tell me what you know about aspect ratio. Just like the concept of aspect ratios.
I love it. There's like boxes and they have shapes.
That's all
16,
I know, too,
16
I
by
think.
9, 3 by 1,
Yeah. Oh, there's
20,
more than just 16
21
by
by
9?
9. Oh yeah, there's all kinds of aspect ratios. Some of my best friends are aspect ratios. 4 by 3, he's very popular in some circles. Yeah.
Yeah. Oops. Oh, that's our show. This is our new show, and it's on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching it because we didn't put it anywhere else. And
YouTube.com.
that's why I'm thinking about aspect ratios is because when I don't want to edit it. Stop. I want to share it. Oh, come on, buddy. Press the wrong link. You really pay for it these days on the internet.
It's 7 minutes of pain.
So I want the embed because then I'll get the iframe, right? So here's an aspect ratio, 560 by 315. I have no idea why YouTube puts those numbers in there, but surely some computer told them that's the right answer at some point. So, okay, iframe, there it is, and it's going to have an aspect ratio, right? Me and you, this is our, more your legacy than mine, but I think we somewhat collaborated on the idea of FitVids.
FitVids, big collab. Chris Quare, Dave Rupert, our first production. Yes. So
Yeah, and the whole point, is there still even a website for it? FitVids.
yeah, somebody wanted to pay me $6,000 for it, but I think it was just like an SEO play.
Oh, I would have sold this shit. 6,000?
I think so. But I just was like,
Look at it's not even doesn't even have
scummy.
HTTPS on it anymore. Yeah, I get it. I know
Yeah.
exactly the type,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've played that game before. If this is like just matters enough for the internet where it's a little.
I think it has
Yeah.
juice. I think
Has
people,
enough juice.
Yeah, it has enough juice, and I just was like, "What are you even gonna do with this website?"
I loved this. I probably still have production sites on it, but I'm trying to get off it because it's not that necessary anymore. But the whole point of it was this cheesy little thing that would like look for iframes, put a div around it, set the div's height to 0, and then put padding top on it that it would calculate from the aspect ratio it calculated from the iframe inside. That's how you used to have to do those. I'm not even going to do it live on this podcast because I don't even think it matters anymore that much. So let's just put like this on it, right? We're just going to illustrate the problem. So then that's fine. So the article has a background of white, let's say, and is narrower than this default. So width of, I don't know, 400 pixels. And then we'll center it because why not? There's all different ways to do this, but we'll make it as tall as the browser window is because why not? I guess we could have, what's the trick to dealing with that overflow? Just a little box sizing should do it, I suppose.
Let's say, yeah.
Does that? No, it doesn't though, right? Because what you really got to do is this also has to be VH. What's the padding? Why is it over? I don't actually care. That's not what this video is about.
Okay.
The problem is it's wanking out of there, right? Like if that's no good, right?
Yeah, because the whole reason was like you put these videos in your blog post or whatever, right? And then you try to put width 100% on the iframe. So you could try iframe width 100%.
Yeah.
And it just goes bad. It just like.
That's the point, right? Because I guess we could make this just for funsies. Overflow, hidden, resize both, just like we did in the video with the
This is our new trick, our resize both trick.
Yeah. So that's fine. Like at least it's not a disaster for responsive web design. Like it's kind of a disaster though, because like what is that? That's not good. If you play the video, I think it's kind of fine.
The player is tolerant, and that's kind of the save, but it doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So the whole point with this is that we'll do the div trick and all that. But that's the whole point of this video. Look it's a one-liner. We'll 16 by 9 it. Does it need the spaces or not? I forget. And then I think the problem is that it's not going to work because it has this height on it. So I think you have to
Height auto.
Yeah, you have to juice it off, and then it's done. We're
done. With FitVids is replaced entirely.
It's being weird with the scrolling, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, what's awesome is like it's It's now in the browser, and it's actually, you saw like a little jank that's maybe happening in the player. The video element itself is just like, I can go as fast as you want. Like, it's just, it's great. And you're not kind of doing padding hacks. The intrinsic sizing by Thierry Koblinski, that hack was like clever as all get out, but it was totally a hack. It just was not like that useful, or like, it was very clear this was something I'm doing right now as a stopgap, and I'm trying to get away from it. This aspect ratio is awesome. Can I tell you something I did recently? I had a client with videos, right?
Right, videos.
But they're doing like live videos, and so they had a thing where they're like, hey, a video is going to show up here eventually after we're done processing it, or when we go live.
So it was a div at first, and then it got replaced by an iframe or something?
Yeah, and then the iframe shows up later when they put it in the CMS, right? So I needed oh yeah, here you go, okay.
Well, I just thought, so that's because it doesn't have to be an iframe. It can just be
It doesn't have to be an iframe. So I would just be like, so in there, like, the way you do it is like video coming soon, but it's like a collapsed little box, right? Or you can maybe mess with the padding. But with aspect ratio, you can be like div coming soon, and then like just write content in there, and this is gonna anchor to the top. But you could do another div with place items, or place items center. Look at that,
sick.
I did that for a client, like 3 lines of CSS, man, and I was like done. And I was so pleased with myself. It does not work in Safari 14, but guess what? Like Safari 14.
Really?
It's Safari 15, I think, has it.
Which part? The aspect ratio part?
Aspect ratio. Can I use everybody's favorite? I use aspect ratio?
Well, I can look it up. Yeah.
It's in 15. So this month, like literally this week maybe, or next week, it gets solved. So Safari is getting like I added a little like 2 rims of padding around it just to give it like a little bit of
does that mess with it?
Well, here, comment out. No, yeah, it's fine.
Is it going to get taller? It does kind of mess with it.
What did I do there then? I must have done something, or like I had an inset div or something on the text or whatever. Yeah. But that's fine. But if you remove that, like
is that what's hurting it? Kind of. Move what?
Like comment out aspect ratio on aspect ratio me, and like this is what Safari users got.
Oh yeah. So who cares?
There'll
be a little reflow, but big deal.
Yeah, too bad. But guess what? Next week they get this when you uncomment it. And so
surprise, you get the real thing now.
Guess what? And so it just was awesome because it like really this is just great, like huge productivity booster and stuff like that. So we just did the aspect, or the accent color thing. It's like in the same vein. It's like, wow, that got really easy really quick, didn't it? Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. This is a good year for CSS, man. This is just great. So,
and it's stuff like divs and iframes that don't have the height, right? Because if images always had this, because they have, what do you call it? Is it intrinsic height? Yeah. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah.
So this will wank out too, probably, because I don't have anything for images. But I guess I can get rid of that stupid height thing now. But the images were always easier to deal with, right? Because you just go image with 100%, and then it was fine. Mm-hmm. But this, the reason I bring this up is not to show off how easy images are to deal with, but they kind of are. So that's nice, right? Like that'll be aspect ratio already. But this doesn't have width and height attributes on it, and it should, right?
Yeah, because that's a new change now. Like the Ethan Marcotte RWD book recommended like taking those out. But now...
Did it seriously? Does it still say that even in V2 or whatever of that book?
I think it was because, like, in IE6, when the book was written or whatever, or IE8, I think more accurately, if you put a height on an image, IE8 was just like, you must have really meant that, so I'm going to really draw it at this height, So I think it was just easier to kind of remove it and let the browser figure it out. But But now the best practice is to add these height and widths, because the browser will, and Safari does this, the browser will draw a little box for it.
Yeah, but now I've screwed it up.
Oh.
So this is where
So now you do height
kind
auto.
of height auto, and then but you still have this possibility, right? I think this
Mm-hmm.
might actually work this time. No.
No, height auto. Sorry.
And the other interesting thing I always thought of with aspect ratio is that it's weak in some way, and that these will always win. So like, I don't think there's like officially a thing called a weak declaration in CSS tricks, or CSS, but that's how it feels. Is that anything will beat this? Like if I tell this to be 50 pixels, it's going to be 50 pixels. Height's going to win every time. It's
Yeah,
just when you give it the autos that it goes.
Yeah.
And that's true for max height and max width too, that these will win, because these have always been strong. Max height is like stronger, quote unquote, than height. You know what I mean?
Now we're getting into property strength. I haven't even like considered this
strength.
realm, but this is that's
a
a
thing.
good CSS tricks post.
I mean, we talked about, like, I think it might have been on the audio podcast, that scope stuff is interesting in this realm too, which we absolutely don't have time to get into. Let's talk about images, and we'll talk about scope in a soon upcoming video.
Yeah. Well, so one last question here.
Yeah.
Can you put like aspect ratio 1:1 and make it a square? Can you change that image to a square?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, you can. I mean, I have to.
And then it's gonna be bad, right? Like
It'll be squish-a-vision, but
okay,
then
squish-a-vision.
object fit
it, and now you have responsive images, like object fit cover. Yeah. Now it's a square.
That's pretty rad.
And
That's
it's
pretty
just
rad.
doing it like that.
Don't you always feel
right?
bad that you're sending data over the wire that it doesn't use? Not that
I have
you
zero
should care that much.
No, you know who cares? Lighthouse, but who cares? Does Dave Rubin care? No, I don't.
No.
I really care about doing less work and achieving maximum results. So,
But if you know that it's a square, some image CDNs have like aspect ratio stuff in the URL where it will like crop
that's
it before
cool.
it comes.
And you could write a picture element that does that correctly. And I would
Right.
you should totally
Still,
do
right.
that.
The
But,
flexibility of this is tremendous. I like that a lot.
But if you're still in like prototype zone and showing, figuring out an idea or something like that, and then you can spec out what it needs to be here.
Does it
and
need
then
the spaces? Sometimes it does, but no, it's cool. Although I have SAS on, so I bet it fixes it or whatever.
Yeah, I wonder. I feel like there was a point where like one cut of a browser it did matter, but I don't think.
Yeah,
it does.
like it's in my head somewhere that's at some point it matters. But
Yeah.
let's say it doesn't. All right, well, aspect ratio is like pretty sweet, right?
Like, subscribe.